Hello students. Today we'll start Unit 3 of the Text and Screen course. This will be on the stages of production of film in general. Now, as you all know, that this course is on film adaptations, how to adapt films, how to adapt novels, literary works into films. So this particular unit talks about in general about film production, because as a student who is trying to learn about the techniques of adapting a film, it becomes very necessary for you all to know the basic process involved in production, the stages involved in production of film. So that's what I'll be handling today. Let me open the slides for you. So the entire filmmaking process uh, is a totally collaborative process. Whereas when an author creates a literary work, it's a solitary task. Okay, it's all alone, like Wordsworth, on a solitary reaper, how he talks about a solitary reaper singing a song. The same way, a literary composition is done all alone. One author writing a poem or a novel or a short story or a play or whatever. But in contrast, the filmmaking process is a collaborative process, so we should understand that first. Okay, so here there are five stages that we are going to discuss today. Five basic steps, five basic stages in film production: the development stage, pre-production, production, post-production, and finally the marketing of the film. Now, this will hold good for the entire filmmaking process. Let it be a film which is not based on a novel or literary work. So, a film as such, in isolation, a film is produced in these stages. It is produced. So we need to understand these basics before we adapt a film also, adapt a novel into a film also. We need to discuss all these things. So let us go one by one. So the first one is development stage. In the development stage, that is the initial stage. Okay, this is where the entire planning is done. The seeds are sown for the beautiful film to emerge, evolve. So initial phase, this is where the director approaches the financiers or the producer with a written script, and the director tells the story in his own style or her own style, highlighting the important points that will attract the financier, get an acceptance from the financier to produce the film. The setting, characters, casting requirements are all discussed. Okay, the approval is got, the planning starts, and the scene is the scene by scene, the story, the film is narrated, and that again depends on the storyteller's skill. Okay, if you are a film adapter, who you are going to make an adaptation of a novel, the story is already there. So how are you going to convert that novel into a movie, or that short story into a movie, or that poem into a film? So that again is a skill, is a special skill that one needs to acquire. So the script has to be ready. The script again, when you are talking about film adaptation, the script is already there in the form of a literary work, in a novel or a short story, but you have to adapt it to suit the film. So that we should have in mind. So all these basic script is written, rewritten, and budget plan is planned. The shooting is scheduled, like number of days required to complete the shooting, and all such things are planned. Okay, so this is the first stage. And so because this we are discussing only on in the with reference to adaptations, literary works adapted into films, we need to remember that all details in the novel, let us take for example the novel, all details in the novel need not be presented in the film. It cannot be. It is impossible, because novel, it runs to 300 pages, 200 pages sometimes. So you can't bring in everything, so you have to edit here and there, cut short here and there to suit the time, the duration of the film, to fit in there. The screenwriter should decide which should be included and which should be retained, which should be omitted, changed, edited, or whatever. So inclusion, deletion, and everything is like an act of interpretation. You interpret the work and decide which one stays, which one goes, and which one is changed, modified. Again, it's a very wonderful act of interpretation, decision making, and the decision of the filmmaker should match with the purpose of the novelist or the short story writer, whoever, whichever literary work you are adopting. Okay, and so again, the screenwriter should decide based on whether the materials that are the material that is selected effect makes the film also very effective, without omitting the important details and retaining the integral meaning of the text. That is a very basic step in screenwriting. Okay, and then next comes the pre-production. After the planning is over, the production team meets and they talk about which kind of cast and crew they need. They hire them. The locations are selected. The some places, some locations, for some locations they need permits. Like for example, if you have to shoot in a railway station, you need to get the permission of the railway authorities. So like that, permits or transport permits also you should get. If you're traveling from one state to another state or one country to another country, all these paperwork, the documents should be ready. And set design, no, are you going to use an outdoor set or indoor studio, or outdoor natural setting location. And then the rehearsals commence, and everything that needs to be done perfectly meticulously planned, everything that needs to be done before the camera start rolling. Before that, everything needs to be done, and all these people, they work together: director, production manager or designer, cinematographer, choreographer, music composer, all they sit together, mainly these three people, to decide the storyboard, to create a storyboard. And I will explain to you in the next class in detail how a storyboard is created. This is just to know the stage involved, the stage in which we have to introduce the storyboard. So storyboard, to just give you a very brief description of a storyboard, it is a kind of design created, a drawing created using stick figures or very rough cartoon pictures. Frame by frame, the screen is brought into those pictures. Like each frame, one picture with details of the camera angle, camera position, type of shot, and other details will be mentioned, so that looking at the storyboard, the filmmakers will have an idea of how the final shot is going, the frame is going to be set, and the final shot is going to emerge. So that clarity should be there in the storyboards. Next stage will be the production stage. Now here the actual production starts, the filming starts, having got the schedule clearly fixed, location is fixed, and the call sheets of the actors and the cast and the crew, everything is fixed, and they all know now where to report and when to report, what time, what shot is taken. All that will be clearly mentioned in the call sheets. The set is constructed if there is a need for a set. Lighting, where to keep the camera lights, how to position the lights, all those things, and they are all designed and integrated. Costume, makeup, hairstyle, these departments are also taken care of. And then the actual production starts. Now, once the film is shot, okay, after the shooting is over, every day they will the crew will sit together to watch the dailies, or they are also known as rushes. At each day, end of each day, they watch the rushes, and so that they can, if they have left out anything, or if something has to be reshot, or something has to be changed, they can do it then and there, instead of, like for example, if you have put on a set, lakhs and lakhs you spend on the set, and you shoot a dance sequence, and later when you watch there is a huge blunder, then but before then you have dismantled the set, then it will be a total waste of time, energy, material, money, and everything. So daily rushes will help the crew to know whether the shooting of that day is done without any error, uh, and the objective is achieved. So dailies or rushes, they are known as. They are watched, and then modifications, if necessary, are made in the shots. Reshooting is done, rescheduling is done, or they just, if they are happy with what they have produced, they just settle with that. and the editors then start. Once these films are being shot and they can be sent to the editor, and once the entire film is ready, the editors begin their work. They know what shot to pick, what to cut, where to put the cut, where which to merge, which to splice, and all those things they will decide, and the best shot will be chosen, and with a very good quality of composition and all that. And that that will be the end of production once the entire film is shot. Now comes the fourth stage, the post production stage. Now, having produced the film, what happens after that? So here again, editors have very strong. Once the editing is almost done, film is edited to a final cut. No, after so many attempts of cutting, changing, all that, the final cut is made, and now the music is added, but the background score is added, sound effects are added. Here comes the important role of sound designers and other engineers. Sound mixing is done, sound effects are added, the music is added, the dialogues are all dubbed, necessary footage may be shot or reshot or whatever, recorded dialogue is dubbed, the dubbing is done. All the artists finish their dubbing, the title card and the credit cards are added, and now final stage, the prototype of the film is ready. So they finally watch the entire, they make the prototype before making prints. And then the last stage, marketing. Now, of course, now once the film is ready, all in the package, entire package is ready. You have to market the film, sell the film to the film distributors or to the buyers or whoever. Mainly the film distributors, they buy the film. A lot of advertising is needed, publicity is needed. Nowadays, you would have heard a lot about audio launch. So even before the film is ready for release, they have two or three stages, like to promote the film. There's a first look. Sometimes the first look kind of, it's an event, first look event, and then there is this audio launch, and then small first promo. All these things are, they take care of the promotion for the film, advertising, and the film prints are made depending on how many prints are needed, and agreements, contracts are signed and all that with movie theaters. Other terms of sale are fixed, who will get how much profit, how much will it be sold to, resale value, how much, and all that, all those things. But now even OTT terms come in, because they are all the time, there's always talk about how reducing them in the OTT channels. So that is also done. So with that, the stages of production are over. So this is how stage by stage a film is produced. The same thing will apply for a film that is an adaptation from a literary work. So that will cover the stages of production for film adaptations also. So we must understand, to conclude, I am telling that we must understand how film is a collaborative work, unlike the work of literature, because there only the author is involved in writing. If you talk about producing, then maybe publisher, printer, selling, that comes much later. But all till then, it's only the author's own work, solitary work, okay, one person's work. So here film is collaborative of all these people in every stage of film production. Sometimes even job lines, they blur. There are no clear-cut watertight compartments, like director takes care of only this, producer takes care. Sometimes actors help in writing the screenplay, and screenwriters give ideas about where to keep the light and all that. Cinematographers or dance choreographers can talk about lighting. I want the light in this place for my dance sequence and all that. And directors involved in editing. So like this, the roles keep changing. The roles are the job lines are not very clearly marked. They blur. No, there are different roles taken up by different people. So altogether, this collaborative work of film is very effectively done, and the film is ready to produce. So that's it for today, students. Thank you.